Whoa, $20? What do we have to do? Dear Tim and Moby, who was Andrew Jackson? From Brittany. Andrew Jackson was the 7th President of the United States. He served from 1829 to 1837, and he was one of the most influential U.S. presidents of the 19th century. Unlike the 6 first presidents, Jackson came from humble beginnings. He was born in 1767 in a remote area of the Carolinas. His parents were poor farmers, and he had a typical frontier childhood filled with hunting, fishing, and the occasional class at a one-room schoolhouse. But tragically, his entire family, his father, his mother, and his 2 brothers died by the time Andrew was 14 years old. When he was a young man, he began successful law practice in Nashville, Tennessee, and married the daughter of a prominent local family.
He eventually became a judge and bought a cotton plantation called the Hermitage. Jackson's wealth was built on slavery, and his wealth made him a prominent person in Southern society. But he had kind of a wild reputation. More than once,
he got into duels of honor,
gunfights to settle personal conflicts. We probably wouldn't be learning about it if it
weren't
for
for what happened next.
The War of 1812 broke out with England. Then Jackson was commissioned as a major general in the U.S. Army. In the Battle of New Orleans, he led outnumbered American forces to a surprise victory over the British. For his toughness,
Jackson earned the nickname Old Hickory.
Well, as wood goes,
Hickory's pretty strong.
Anyway, he became a national hero.
In 1824, he ran for president.
He won 43% of the vote, more than any of the other candidates. But without a majority of at least 51%, Congress had to pick a winner. In a backroom deal,
they chose John Quincy Adams.
Yeah,
and it wasn't really fair.
Washington insiders didn't want someone as uneducated, violent, and, well, low class as Jackson to be president. But in the next election, Jackson used that image to his own advantage. He campaigned as a populist, representing the common man against the rich and powerful. Joining with old political rivals,
he formed the modern Democratic Party.
When he won the election,
Jackson invited the public to come celebrate.
Thousands flooded the White House for his inauguration party, which, got a little out of hand. Well, he thought the government should be more responsive to the people. Before his administrations, many federal jobs were held for life by the well-connected. Jackson replaced as many of these people as he could with new blood. Critics claimed he'd created a spoils system, rewarding political allies with jobs they
didn't even deserve.
But Jackson continued his populist reforms, focusing next on the Second Bank of the United States. Created in 1816,
and it was the federal government's official bank.
He spoke out for its destruction,
arguing that it became corrupt
and far too powerful. Americans approved of these policies
and re-elected Jackson in 1832.
In his second term,
he destroyed the second bank
by withdrawing all government money from it.
Jackson's grab for power made him a lot of enemies.
He was even known as King Andrew among his critics, and his actions during the nullification crisis strengthened this view. In 1832, the state of South Carolina refused to collect a federal tariff or tax on goods imported from Europe. In Jackson's view, states couldn't pick and choose which federal laws
they wanted to enforce.
Well, after he threatened to send in the army, South Carolina compromised by agreeing to a lower tariff. Most people today would agree with Jackson.
But back then, many people thought he was overstepping his power.
The crisis turned out to be a major defeat for Southern slaveholders. But it's not like
Jackson was anti-slavery or anything.
He was all for slavery.
He was all for slavery, just against Southern states nullifying federal laws. He even tried unsuccessfully to outlaw the anti-slavery literature.
He also signed the Indian Removal Act, authorizing the president to negotiate land treaties with Native American tribes. In practice,
negotiation didn't even have nothing to do with it.
Tribal leaders were pretty much forced into signing over their land. And when people resisted leaving, they were forced to walk over 1,000 miles at gunpoint. Many died of exposure,
starvation and disease called as Trail of Tears.
Over the rest of the century, more than 30 tribes were forcibly removed to what is now Oklahoma. You're right.
You're right, Jackson was complicated.
In the end, he increased the power of the presidency, while at the same time making it more responsive to the public,
But he also enslaved people.
and was responsible for the forced removal and suffering of many Native Americans. After his second term ended in 1837,
Jackson retired to the Hermitage
He remained immensely popular, serving as an informal advisor to future presidents.
until his death in 1845.
Now, can I have my $20? Moby?